think now our guest of honor, Sri Suresh Kumar Pradhan, Principal Nayagarh Autonomous College, Nayagarh. Is he with us? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. There are sir has not been joined with us till now. Now I welcome and invite Dr. K. Srinivas Rao as the keynote speaker of this session, of this webinar. Sir, please.
Thank you.
Take the place.
Thank you, Manjula Madam, for your for welcoming me to this excellent topic, which is need of the hour. I congratulate really the Lispring Odisha and in association with Niagara Autonomous College, Niagara, Odisha, as the principal of this great institution, Suresh Kumarji, and organizing secretary, Dr. Manjula Parao Dasji, and convener, Mr. Vaisridhar Gowda, co-convener, Sangamitraji, coordinator of this webinar, Suresh Kumar Satpataji, and all resource persons, chief guest of this today's webinar, international webinar, Professor Malyadriji, the senior most professor in South India, and also senior fellow of ICSSR working in CES Hyderabad, and also Professor Rajesh ji, and also Professor Ramesh ji, my good friend, and all other organizers of these two great institutions. I congratulate really for choosing this wonderful topic for this international webinar. I welcome you all, and I really thank for giving me this opportunity and choosing me as a keynote speaker. Now, when you talk about the challenges and the social issues of homeless people, it is a heart-burning issue. In fact, government, in spite of providing many activities towards the housing and all that, even then, in spite of all those initiatives, still, as our chief guest rightly stated, that still we have millions of people out of the home. They are facing homelessness. There are many reasons for homelessness and all that. We will discuss one by one. In fact, it is a major issue. Homelessness is a major issue in India because it is related, as our Rajesh rightly stated, that it is confined not only to one particular, the area of a human being. It is associated with many, the areas in the course of human life. So that is why it is a major issue. And the many vulnerable sections, we always talk about vulnerable sections in the society. So they're all facing health issues and all that. The issue is the reason or the cause for the health issues, the vulnerable sections that they are facing, is one of the basic reasons that homelessness only. So that is why you can see many people today. You can see many people, millions of people on the roads, pavements, railway platforms. They are living there, residing And there are some people in drainage pipes. They are surviving somehow vulnerably. And like that, many people are living at the roadside and all that. These are all, the heart-burning issues and pathetic situations. Because of this, what is happening today is sexual assault, especially on women, is increasing day by day because of this homelessness. Because every human being, as our chief guest rightly stated, that security is very important. Social responsibility is very important. And this security and social responsibility, I feel to my mind, it comes only through the home. If you are owning a home, definitely you will have a confidence in your mind, so that the person, the individual, can concentrate on various income improving level aspects, so that his income will increase once he is owning the home. So that is why owning home is a basic amenity, minimum amenities, food, shelter, clothes, we always talk about. So that is why this home is very important, house is very important. Otherwise, what happens, as I mentioned just now, sexual harassments will be taking place on women. Those who are residing on pavements and the platforms and the roadside, they are residing. Because of that, these sexual harassments taking place nowadays. We have been seeing every day in the newspapers. It's quite heartburning. And the mental illness also, some people are, we can see on the roadside, beggars and the homeless people, we can see the mental illness and all that. When we are passing through in various areas, we can see the mental illness people also. These are all happening because the only reason is that homelessness. It is not that the governments are not doing, governments are doing their level best. But even then, since we are huge populated country, still there is huge amount of people out of the home. We'll talk about the statistics also, I'll give you. And you have certain types you can see the homelessness. Temporary homelessness, always we can talk about. Under that, transitional period will be there. People will migrate from one place to another place. Or some people, if their income levels are less, say for example, they will go for housing, but it will take some time for the higher incomes and all that. Once they gain the higher incomes, definitely they'll go for the housing and all that, whether it is government scheme or on their own. So this is what we call transitional period. And you have the second position, the concept is that episodic homelessness. People come in and come out. I think you might have seen the literature in many textbooks and many material which is available to the housing. So that means the people will migrate, as I mentioned just now, from one place to another place because of their homelessness. If they are residing in one particular city, the roadside, say for example, then the police people and other people and officials, they'll come and they will ask them to go other places. So in that situation, they move from that place to another place. They are forced to move. Because of this, what's happening? They're all facing so many problems. And you have the method or type of the homelessness people, or chronic homelessness. Chronic homelessness means all of you know that permanent homeless. They don't have a permanent home. They're permanently homeless. So like that, you can classify the homelessness into basically 3 categories. That is one thing. And you have another important point when you discuss about, when you look into it, it is not the homelessness. Providing home is not that living, providing 4 walls and a roof. It's not that only 4 walls, providing 4 walls and a roof. when you provide a home, they should have an accessibility of different infrastructural amenities. It is compulsory. Otherwise, how the person, individual or families can survive? So it is a very important issue that we have to, all of us, discuss and take into consideration. So that is why a home should be provided with the minimum amenities, in the sense affordability anyhow will be there. Access to services, today medical services are important, and where you are providing the home, there minimum facilities of drainage and other, the toilets and all that, minimum facilities must be there. Usually the homes for these sections of the people will be provided in a far place where there are no amenities. Then what does it mean? What is the meaning of, what is the use of it? So you are supposed to, either government side or any NGOs also nowadays, they are constructing homes, voluntary organization, fine. We have to appreciate them. At the same time, wherever they are providing homes, there, first of all, before constructing the homes, minimum infrastructure facilities must be provided. Infrastructure facilities, as I mentioned, means that the power connection must be there, the drainage facilities, sanitation must be there. These are all minimum things. Without looking into these infrastructure facilities, simply, if you provide to fulfill the promise of the government or to fulfill the promise of NGOs or voluntary organization, the people cannot live over there. If it is far to the thickly populated areas, it is difficult because there are no amenities. So that is why whatever home that you give, either from the NGO side or voluntary organizations or from the government side, there the amenities, infrastructure must be accessible so that people can live, survive. People can live and survive with all minimum standard of living is very important. People wants only minimum standard of living, not more than that. So it is a responsibility to provide such conditions wherever it is there, such conditions, including of such condition, the home has to be provided. That is one area. And you have the other things that when you speak about the statistics, there are today in India 1.77 million homeless people are there in India. It is equivalent to 0.15% of the country's population. This is according to 2011 census I am talking about. So how it is all a heart-burning issue for all of us. We are educated, we are all in a positions, and we are surviving well. But what about those vulnerable sections? That is need to be taken into consideration. Seriously, we have to think about it. And there are a growth is there, progress is there from government side and NGO side, they are providing, but the provision, the progress that is taking place is somehow not sufficient. It has to be further speed up to meet the challenges, to meet the requirements of the required people, especially these vulnerable sections. It's very, very important. And you have the other statistics when you see there is high population of, as I mentioned, mentally ill people, street children, homeless population, street children are imagine the situation. It's not that the government is not doing anything, it is doing. They are doing their level best. But the point is only this progress is to be further to be improved, further to be speed up. That is my concern. And you have 18 million street children are there in India today. 18 million. We talk about young India. And young India, in the years to come, we are young country all over the world when you compare. So then if these people are homeless and 18 million street children are there without taking care, say for example, homeless, then the future of India is very much concerned about us. It's a heart burning. Not only me, for all of us. So that is why government is further to speed up. There is progress, but further to be taken necessary steps to speed up this process. And you have another important statistics that there is still shortage 18.78 million houses in the country. Despite of the progress of for the construction of the houses in Telangana, Hyderabad, the government of Telangana also providing houses as far as Telangana state is concerned. The Honorable Chief Minister and the government also providing double bedroom houses for the weaker sections. It's a good, excellent scheme. People are benefiting it. People are benefiting it. So the point is, when you give a security to the person or individual, my only idea is if you provide a security and confidence by giving a house to the individual, then definitely he will think about the increase of his income levels. Once the income levels are increased, then what happens, all of us know. Then standard of living will increase. Purchasing power will increase. These are all chain, one depend on other. Purchasing power increases, consumption increases. It leads to higher GDP than what we are talking about today always. And the consumption taxes will increase and revenues of the government also will increase. These are all dependent on components. So that we need to take into consideration, very important aspects. And you have not only that, there are many issues, as I mentioned just now. The government schemes, when you talk about Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for urban, launched in the year 2015, in the year 2015. And the target is up to 2022. There's a good progress in that. And the scheme is excellent. And many people have already occupied the houses. And they are accessing the benefits, amenities, what I talked to you, I mentioned you. These all happens. And this is excellent scheme as far as urban is concerned. As far as rural is concerned, the same Pradhan Mantri Gramin Awas Yojana rural, under that there are in situ slum redevelopment scheme is there, credit linked subsidy scheme is there for weaker sections, EWS, economically weaker sections is there. And before that, Rajiv Awas Yojana also was there. In the year 2009, it was launched. Then Congress government was in ruling. Under that also many people were benefited. These are all things that are happening. Progress is there. Progress is there. The only thing is we have to proportionate this progress, compare this progress to the required people. To what extent that we reached and still to what extent we have to approach, accomplish the schemes under that. That is very, very important. Need to introspect and you have to speed up. That is one thing. And there are other issues. When you talk about other issues, people living in slum areas. When you see today in India, slum areas people, in the next 2 decades, if you just see in the coming 2 decades, the people living in slum areas are equaling the total population of Britain. Wonder, surprise it is. It is going to equal to the total population of Britain. So that means we should concentrate. We have to introspect. We need to take more concern about it. That's what my submission. And not only that, you have more than 90 million population in India makes less than $1 per day, earning less than $1. How can they survive? How can they survive? These are all the state of affairs. So the government is trying to improve the income levels of these sections. So income levels are increasing. Definitely what happens, you all of us know that health facilities will increase. They'll go, they will send their children to the education. They will get literate and their income levels will increase, and ultimately standard of living also will increase. That's what I mentioned a few minutes back. When standard of living increases, or the purchasing power of the individual increases, it results leading to development of the country, which exactly we require. And the manufacturing, employment also will be generated. Employment is very, very important for our younger generations today. That is why we always talk about the skill India, make in India, and startup India, and all that we are talking. Very good schemes. And with all these schemes, the young people will be benefited. So that is why homeless concern, if any individual is having homeless concern in his mind, then it has to be fulfilled. If it is not done in his mind, he will definitely feel insecure. He will definitely feel insecure. Confidence levels will be less. It reflects on every aspect of the individual in his life, daily life. The home is only an area where the individual can improve his confidence and concentrate more on income generation activities. So that is why home is very, very important. Basic amenities, which is very, very important. Whether one day he has taken food or 2 times in a day, that is not the matter. Whether he is owning a home or not, that is very important. That gives a lot of the confidence in the individual mind. Automatically what happens, the health will be good because of income generations, and that respective individual children will go to school and they will get educated. And you can imagine later on what happens. A lot of development will take place. Consumption, purchasing power, and all that, what I mentioned just now. These are all things that happens. And not only that, there are, in India, we talk about 124th place, wealthiest countries list if you take. Ours is 124th place. So we need to improve this place. This is very important. Per capita income has to be improved. The per capita income, when you talk about, again, income, per capita income is very important. We need to improve the income levels. That is very important. That only will take the per capita income increase, and that only will take the annual national income. It reflects on national income, and ultimately, as I told you, as I mentioned just now, the development of the country. And you have 17% of slum dwellers in the world today is in India. 17% of the world slum areas, people who are residing. If you see them, the statistics, 17% are residing in India. That has to be reduced so that the poverty also can be reduced. Poverty is associated with all these components. Home is very important. The poverty can exclusion, the people should come out of the poverty means home is very important. One of the components, very, very important component that has to be ensured. So that is why in slum areas, people today, 17% is occupied. In the total world population, slum areas, if you take 17% related to associated with Indian, that is one thing. And you have the disability when you talk about, because of the vulnerable sections, because of the homelessness, what is happening ethically, mentally, physically, that's what I mentioned. And lack of, the affordability, and naturally unemployment. These are all situations that take place. And ultimately they suffer. This is another important point. And you have certain problems when you think about stability will not come if there is no home, because he feels insecure. And you have the safety, there will be no safety, as I mentioned many points just now. The security conditions, comfortness will not be there, because when he is residing in a pavement, how can we expect the comfortness over there? And he will not be access for any facilities. The confidence levels always will be less only. Inferiority will be there. These are all problems these sections of the people feel always. And the solutions, when you come to the point of solutions, affordable housing is very important, that has to be provided to overcome this problem. And the social housing today we are talking about, these are to be further speed up, creating employment opportunities. People are migrating from rural to urban today because of the employment. There in the rural area, employability is very less. Only people depend on agriculture. It is hardly 6 months in a year. Remaining 6 months, they will be idle. They need to migrate from rural to urban. In urban area, already there are many problems. Clean water is not available. Accommodation is not available. Employment is a problem. And again, these people are migrating from rural to urban. Imagine then situation. These are all things that are taking place. Lack of education. You cannot provide all the people education in the urban areas. The people especially coming from the rural to urban, it is difficult, because here the educational facilities in urban areas are also limited. So educational facilities wherever in the rural areas also, there has to be educational facilities are there. So there are some villages, some rural areas not having educational facility, health facilities. Primary health centers are there, that has to be improved, so that when all facilities are provided in the rural areas, remote areas, people, there is no need to migrate from rural to urban, and there is no meaning of, and the people never.
ये जो कर रहे हैं वो आपको प्रैक्टिकल बात बता रहा है
The 2 minutes I'll take, not much.
समझ नहीं
So like this, these are all things that are happening, and other resource persons are also there. I don't want to take much of your time. Already I have taken, I may cross my limits on the time. So here, before I stop here, the conclusion, when you see the scenario, though there are, as I mentioned, the government is providing homes and all that, still it is becoming a dream for all the people in the country. With a country like ours, vast, heterogeneous people, huge amount of population, still living in poverty because of the homelessness and confidence levels and all that. Because of that, they are in poverty. Providing housing to everyone is a mammoth task, a difficult task. I do agree. But the schemes that are implementing by the central government and respective state governments are to be further speed. But the government has proposed in this matter, these issues are to be taken more seriously, and further many schemes are to be implemented for the betterment and well-being of the poor, especially these vulnerable sections. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I took a lot of time. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Very nice presentation, sir. You have focused on different aspects like individual, social, economic, and psychological point of view. It really added value to our webinar. Now, I would like to request Dr. Fo Simon Sunday, HOD, Adnan Oxia College of Education, Lagos, Nigeria, as our resource person to light on this talk. Please, sir. Dr. Paul Simon Sunday. He is with us.